the franchise tag, Gilbert. I know a lot of players hate it. Players are not happy with what's going on right now. The running back position kind of has been taking a hit lately, obviously, with everything going on, and Austin Eckler, Chargers running back Austin Eckler, being one of those guys. It's like, hey, I want to. He requested a trade to seek a trade because the Chargers didn't want to redo his contract. Josh Jacobs gets franchised. Saquon Barkley gets franchised. Tony Pollard gets franchised. The deadline today, or the deadline on Monday, was for all three running backs to be able to negotiate long-term deals with their teams. Neither three signed the deal. We even saw on Twitter that Josh Jacobs was in his car with Max Crosby waiting to see if anything happened. Nothing happened. All three are going to be free agents after this year. Tony Pollard, I think, Gilbert, we're expecting he will play this year. $10.1 million is something that he's never made before. Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley are sitting out, and they might be sitting out for a while, Gilbert. What do you make of everything going on with this?
Yeah, I was asked at Sports Illustrated to predict, what's going to be the outcome for the 4 franchise tag players. I got in low pat here. I got three out of 4 correct, and the one that I was holding hope for to get a deal done was Saquon Barkley. And if he gets one done, the wheels are in motion, and we know the market now. What's going on, because you see guys like Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, all these, even Alvin Kamara, like all these guys are making over $10 million, either are getting cut, asked to restructure. The running backs are not doing well, unless your name is Christian McCaffrey making $60 million. So there was this, since Nick Chubb, I think I saw the stat that they haven't had a running back sign an extension since 2021 over $10 million. So we've been waiting for the running back market to kind of be like set. Like we saw with the defensive tackles. I mentioned Quentin Williams. You see it all the time with the quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson passing Jalen Hurts, and you're not seeing any movement with the running backs. And the reason why I had the Giants maybe, get in a contract with Saquon, because they've showed that they believe in the core group. Like if you believe in Daniel Jones, then you better believe in Saquon Barkley. And that wasn't even enough. They also paid Dexter Lawrence, and I'm like, okay, they're paying their guys, and for some reason they won't do it with Saquon. And I don't know what the reports are true or not, Fernando, because people could be saying, hey, Saquon passed up on an offer for $13 million per year, which sounds very good nowadays. Well, what about the guaranteed money? What about the security? Like, you don't know how the contract is structured. So there's something going on there. But the thing I take away the most is, like, we have to wait again to see how the market's going to set. And like you mentioned, everybody's different. Tony Pollard, I did the math. Like, his rookie contract as a 4th-round pick in 2019, $3 million combined. On the franchise tag for 1 year, $10 million. So you can't fault the guy there. But Jacobs and Barkley have been 1st-round picks, so they're willing to fight a little more. But I don't know. Like when I'm telling you, like, guys like Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, all these guys they're not panning out. Like, what do you do besides Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry? They've kind of panned out with their big contracts. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey, but barely. He was hurt for 2 freaking years, and he goes to the 49ers, and he's making the money worth it. But when you see all that, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So to me, what I took away here is, like, nobody wants to just reset the market. All the owners are just saying, we like to draft. Why are we going to just change it up right now? Just keep it going.
I know, I completely agree. And here's some of the like Austin. So Matt Miller tweeted this out where he's like, been saying it for years. Draft a running back, play the running back. If he's good, franchise tag the running back one more time, and then draft a running back. So that got some people angry, like Austin Eckler. He goes, this is the kind of trash that has artificially devalued one of the most important positions in the game. Everyone knows it's tough to win without a top running back, and yet they act like we are discardable widgets. I support any running back doing whatever it takes to get the bag. Yes and no, Gilbert. I mean, like, yeah, it's important to have a good running back, but look at what the Kansas City Chiefs just did. Like, they have a 1st-round draft pick in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was basically, useless during the playoff run. Yeah. They had to go with Jarrett McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco, and both of them scored numerous touchdowns and ran the football effectively for them, to the point where I don't even know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire suited up for the Super Bowl. I can't even remember. But he doesn't. I don't think they have a point when it comes to this. I think Matt Miller's more on it than these running backs, and it's because I mean, in the words of a good friend, they're listening to too much Drake and they're in their feelings. But I mean, that's what I think it is. I think they're thinking with their heart instead of thinking with their head. If you're an executive, you're gonna go and say, you know what? Am I gonna pay a running back or am I gonna go get another cornerback to help stop Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, or do I want to run the football and draft a running back in the 5th, 6th round with a solid offensive line? I can push the way Kansas City has, and I can get one of these guys and open up holes. That's the reason why the Chiefs are so good. Isaiah Pacheco's good, but it's because of that offensive line that they open up holes. They do everything for him. That offensive line's great, and that's a big reason why also. So I don't know, Gilbert. I mean, maybe I'm being unfair, but I think it is kind of what they're saying is not wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to accept the truth there because that's the way you do it. Like I already said in the last week's show, like look at the Seahawks. They drafted Kenneth Walker in the 2nd round. They're doing well. They drafted, the Jets drafted Brees Hall in the 2nd round. He's doing well besides the injury. And I think where we are is like if you really got a top back, like your top back can't really lead you. Like Derrick Henry's been a top back for the Titans, but where did they take him? Like playoffs, and that's about it. Saquon Barkley's always getting hurt, but where has that taken the Giants? Josh Jacobs, the Raiders were not even in the playoffs last year, and he led the league in rushing. So you got to find this balance where you can't be the guy with the high volume, because then that means you're not a passing attack. That you win in this league with a passing attack. If you're having the monster bell cow, that's not gonna win. And then like if you could just have enough, like the running game is very important. I get that, but you could find that in spurts, and you could find that in the 5th, 6th round. And when you're just relying heavily on the rushing attack, it's not gonna get you that far. Like well, you could close out a game, but if you don't have wide receiver, like you don't have, a quarterback. Like Pacheco's really good because he has Patrick Mahomes. How about with the Cowboys with Tony Pollard and Dak Prescott? Like, he had Zeke for a long time, but the Cowboys are very aware they paid Zeke as the lead back. It did nothing for them. So why would they go rush out and pay Tony Pollard? So everybody has these different stories.
Yeah. No. And like you said, when the Tennessee Titans last year, remember, they were in that win and you're in game against the winner won the division between them and Jacksonville. Ryan Tannehill was hurt, I believe, and it was Malik Will. No, it was Dobbs playing. Joshua Dobbs was playing quarterback, and what was Jacksonville doing? They had Rayshon Jenkins, a safety. Like they were all in they were playing literally cover 0. And they knew the ball was going to go to Derrick Henry because Joshua Dobbs couldn't complete a pass. They don't have good receivers. So, I mean, and that's the problem. And Derrick Henry tweeted out at this point, just take the running back position out of the game then. The ones that want to be great and work as hard as they do can give their all to an organization, just like it don't even matter. I'm with every running back that's fighting to get what they deserve. Has everybody written that? Let's see. Najee Harris. Is everybody writing? I'm with. Oh, no. He didn't write that. Here's Najee Harris, Gilbert. And he said the following. He said, I agree with my. Oh, yeah. He said the same thing. Wow. It's like they're all signing a petition or something. I agree with my running back brothers around the NFL. History will show that you need running backs to win. We set the tone every game and run through walls for our team and lead in many ways. This notion that we deserve less is a joke. Gilbert, I apologize, but we're not in the age of LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Alexander. We're not even in the age of Adrian Peterson. We're not in that age where you need those guys, because the running back position is so different. Guys can't, except for Derrick Henry, guys can't take 30 snaps a game and still be good to go and continue. Like, let's be honest. What have we heard from Austin every December? I'm beat up. Like, he admits it that he's beat up. He doesn't feel the same as he did, which I get it. But remember, LT and these guys, like that old generation, they would turn it on in December. They would heat up and go into the into the playoffs running the football well. That's what Josh Jacobs was doing. Josh Jacobs, I think, is more of that mold, I think. Derrick Henry's more of that mold, those bigger backs. But Josh Jacobs gets hurt. He's not a 16 game or 17 game running back. I know the stats prove that he is, but guys get hurt now, and it's not the way it used to be in a sense. And the game's changing. Like you'd rather put the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands than you would in the hands of Derrick Henry, Najee Harris. That's just the way it is. That's the way the game is nowadays, where you want to see the ball in their hands. Last time I'm going to put up Christian McCaffrey's. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But Gilbert, before I let you go again, I apologize. Christian McCaffrey says, this is criminal. 3 of the best players in the entire league, regardless of position. A little bit of a stretch, but I mean that they're just showing their frustration with what's going on. So yeah, Gilbert, I don't know what you have to add to that.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is here. Like besides either all the running backs like kind of go on strike. We got that going on in Hollywood right now, right? So if they kind of just get together and like we're not gonna report all running backs, or like it's like 5-10 years from now and nothing has gotten better, and every kid in their pee-wee football stops playing running back. Nobody wants to play running back. That's like the only way it's gonna change. The second one's a little more extreme. It's gonna take time. Like it's like, okay, we're all gonna be quarterbacks, wide receivers, cornerbacks, but not running back. Nobody wants to play running back. It could change, but the faster change if they all stand together. But again, everybody has different stories, different scenarios. Everybody needs to make their own money, and that's also tough to do, right?
I believe that we will win. I think Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley are going to take this till I think we could see the whole season without either one of them. If you want to take a step, that's what it's going to take.
Hey, Saquon has a bunch of endorsements. He could do it. He could afford it.
That's why, and I think Josh Jacobs has. I mean, well, yeah, but remember, I don't want to say he grew up. He didn't grow up in the best situation, so I'm sure he knows about saving money, and I'm sure he's taking a page out of Marshawn Lynch's book, where I don't spend any of my money that I make from the team.
$10 million is still $10 million. That's
no, and I completely agree. But I wouldn't be surprised if they sat out the whole year to make a point, or they did what Vincent Jackson did with the Chargers a couple of years ago. I think there's a point. I don't know if this is still true, but back in 2010, Vincent Jackson sat out every game until week 8. I think if by week 8 you don't play, you're forfeited for the rest of the season, and you can't play in the playoffs. So I think they'll take it up to that week 8. I think Saquon would be willing to. But let's just say that Raiders are just completely flopped. They're not doing well, and Josh Jacobs has not come back. I'm going to be interested to see if he kind of goes, we'll see.
That's the thing. If you have a contender, like a true super contender, you're going to be rushing to get your guy.
The Giants wouldn't have been as good last year if it wasn't for Saquon.
Yeah, but are they going to be real contenders with them? I don't know. Like,
not contenders, but the contenders to make the playoffs, yes, especially because that conference is so wide open.
I could see maybe with Saquon, but with the Raiders, like, are they tanking for Caleb Williams? Like, they're not going to be rushing to pay the guy to come in. Like, I don't know.
Let me ask you a question. If you do get the number 1 pick, if you're the Raiders, and you're gonna bring in Caleb Williams, you're Mark Davis. Mark, I ask you as an executive or whoever, Mark, are you gonna fire Josh McDaniels and bring in somebody who can help Caleb Williams, or are you gonna keep Josh McDaniels? What would you answer?
Well, that's the thing. Is like, are you telling the coach to tank to get the quarterback and then fire him? That's kind of like shady, but it's been done before. So
I'm so interested to see
2 bad years. Would that be enough? But I don't know.
But honestly, this running back stuff, it's just the way it's dictated. It's just the way it's going. And I just don't like, everybody talks about, well, maybe the quarterback should have their own their own separate like bracket, and they shouldn't count towards the salary cap. But I just don't see how you can. The only way they can do this is, like you said, it's going to be on Bijan Robinson and the kid Gibbs, the kid out of Detroit. I think they're going to be the ones that are going to have to change what's going on. But honestly, realistically, right now, it starts with Saquon and Josh Jacobs. What are you guys how much are you willing to sacrifice to prove your point of what's going on? That's what's going to be interesting. They're the 2 guys that are, because Tony Pollard is going to play. You need that $10 million, but how much are you willing to sacrifice if you're these guys to prove your point? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.